You definitely need to stick to the end of this video. I was using our brand new paste from Color Passion. I tried making mud and it looks better than the piece I was trying to make. Guys, stick around, stay tuned, and enjoy this video. I don't know, would it be tacky to put pegboard up there with all this? Or leave it looking more like a kitchen? If you're new here to Stone Coat, crush that like button, subscribe. Welcome to the family. What we do is we match real stone with epoxy for way less the cost of natural stone. We teach you how to do it every step along the way, and we have tons of fun doing it. We're about to match some granite. I came from the granite world, so I'm always trying to make a realistic looking countertop for way less than it would cost for granite. Adding paste into the combo, it's the trifecta of colorants that's gonna take your project from good to great. For you insiders, welcome back. Crush the like button if you're happy. We finally got the paste. I've been fighting for you. They're here, I'm pumped. And like I said before, comment below. Show us more colors. We want the colors. What I really love about the colors we're currently selling from Color Passion is they are colors that install. They're colors that sell in customers' homes. They're metallics, they're earth tones, they're warm, they're beautiful when combined with what we sell here at Polycolor to make fantastic countertops. And for you epoxy pros out there, if you haven't heard, our pro program is blowing up. You're gonna get the best price on your epoxy projects with a tiered discount program. On your first floor, you're already in tier 2, saving a ton more money every job you sell. Book a call right now with Rob or one of our pro reps. We'll leave a link in the description below. If you've got a tricky situation, a weird project, a weird application, book a call. They're gonna walk you right through it. That way, you can tackle that project with all that confidence. We mix for 2 minutes with a paddle mixer and a drill. Be sure to scrape the sides. That's an important step. We're pulling under mixed epoxy, we're incorporating it. You're starting out with a good mix, the epoxy's gonna harden, you're gonna win. 1 to 1 and you've won. That's our ratio for our countertop epoxies, and that's by volume. That drizzle in, let's figure out the ratios here. Gold, ebony, metallic, brown dye from Polycolor. That's our base color. And then we're left with our 3 accents. So molten gold, pearl white luster, Polycolor pearl metallic here. All colorants available on our website, especially these brand new pastes. Man, I'm hyped about those. And the best part is you do not need to be an artist. Using the additives that we show you, they fight against each other, creating natural effects right before your eyes. This stuff pretty much makes itself. Just follow along these videos, the right color ratios, and the epoxy does the rest of the work for you. After you've mixed, we divided our epoxy into mixing cups. Then we're adding the colorants. And if you're not good with colorants, we have epoxy kits on the website where we send you everything you need to match what I've created here on YouTube. We're gonna grab a little of this molten gold, and that was not very much colorant. Look at how far that went. All right, guys, we're all mixed up. Colors have been added. We went with 4 ounces per square foot, and we're going over an MDF countertop that we did a drop edge to. We teach you how to do this on the channel. You can either make new countertops or go right over your old ones. Now let's get to pouring. I'm gonna grab my 2 base colors and just kind of randomly pour them out on my project and meld them with my gloved hands. My gloved hands are my favorite epoxy tool. I'll also use a magic trail. That's a silicone tipped squeegee. You can also use a Bondo spreader, almost apples to apples. Another epoxy tool I use is a chop brush. If I wanna meld it in a certain way. And I'm also using my popsicle sticks, paint sticks, and a blowtorch or heat gun to eliminate the air bubbles in the product. All right, I'm grabbing my gold ebony, and I'm just doing kind of blobs, random areas of this product. You know, I'm not worried about what's below, any spills on my project. You're not normally gonna do that, but I also would recommend, guys, to do sample boards. I see this almost every video. It really helps determine your ratios. You'll be like, oh, it's too dark. I need a little more white, need more pearl. You're really gonna know. Here's some brown dye. Kind of is deceiving. It's gonna look black on the board until we start melding it into that other color. And you can also see, guys, I'm keeping it from the edges at first. That's intentional. We're not doing a tape dam. The reason I would do a tape dam is if I'm doing more than 4 ounces per square foot on the project and I need to hold that material on. That's your dirty pours, that's your melded marbles, your rolling stones that I do, finishes that require more epoxy. So I'm gonna bring in just a little bit of molten gold. Holy cow, that is so pretty. I'm mesmerized. Okay, I'm saving the rest for some veining and other accenting, but look at the brown coming on here too already. Okay, I'm gonna start melding in, and really at first I'm focusing on bringing epoxy to the dry areas of the board without really melding too much. And if I need to, you can pick up a puddle and kind of come bring it over to a drier area. I'm gonna move this brown. So you can see how much of my fingers I'm actually using to meld. I'm not coming in with my fingertips and just swirling around doing that sort of thing. And I'll switch the direction. So I'm not always going in the same direction. I'll slowly change that. But at first I'm just focusing on getting the epoxy to the dry areas of my board with that much of my finger. And I'm not really focusing that much because remember, this is my base. This is my background. I'm gonna bring my accent colors on there and build from here. So when I swipe into the brown, this molten gold, it really takes over. It's the metallic in there. So you can kind of, pro tip here is wipe your hand off of a board and then it's much less getting in there, even though there was a bunch still. But man, that's pretty. And also on your base color, you can grab off the board, fill in. And if I wasn't teaching you all here, I'd have been done a long time ago with it. I fly through the base colors. You'll see me on the lives do it. We go live frequently, about every other week. So be sure to subscribe, ring that bell. That way you get notified whenever that show starts. That is a fun time too. We're often giving away epoxy, having a grand old time. Okay, that's my front edge. So while I'm doing my base, I'm wetting the edge down. That way, from this point forward, no matter what happens, the epoxy will evenly flow over the front and side edge, wherever you have a finished edge. If you forget to do this, sometimes you'll have a lot of dry spots. So you really have to just wet that down. And the earlier you do that, the better, because now when you have a pattern, it's gonna flow over uniformly and your pattern will look like it was cut out of a nice big thick slab of granite, which is what I like the most. That's why I love taping my edges. Skip across this. We're just gonna get random now, and then I'm gonna torch this and alcohol it, and we could probably call this piece finished until we wanna level it up. So as I walk around this thing, the light completely changes, which is a really unique feature. And I think a lot of that's coming from these pastes. The pastes are suspending the micas. So you can't, also another pro tip, don't judge it too early. I mean, I just swiped away. I haven't even gotten rid of the air, and this has already calmed down to be prettier. And the light, as you walk around it, it completely changes. So you can see the little imperfections on the surface of the epoxy. That's air bubbles incorporated from adding in the colors, melding with my hands, mixing with a drill. A propane torch or a heat gun will eliminate any of the little micro bubbles. Isopropyl alcohol also does a good job at doing that. And the bubbles are going to be working their way to the surface for as long as this epoxy is open, for the next couple hours. But a couple passes with the propane torch throughout creating and at the end of creating will eliminate those bubbles for a glass-like finish, even on your color coat. We're usually following the color coat with a crystal clear coating of epoxy. The epoxy is now, doesn't have the micas, doesn't have any spray paints if you desire to use some of those. And the epoxy is the most food safe layer you could put on there and adds a layer of durability and depth to the product. So it's always recommended whenever using these as an actual countertop, follow it with a crystal clear coat and you're gonna eliminate the air in the same way. We're gonna torch the surface about 1 inch or so, keeping the torch head moving and slowly working your way across the project. I'll usually go left to right, and then I'll go front to back, almost in a crosshatch pattern, letting the epoxy cool about a couple minutes in between torchings. If the project you're working on has a lot of metallic powders like this, you're not gonna wanna go slow. As you heat up the epoxy, the metallics may settle. It can create a look you're going after, but if you go really slow, it can create lines in that product. So just keep that torch head moving to avoid that look. So if you're going for a more subtle look, folks, less is best. This is just 2 pastes and 1 dye, a small hand meld. We could walk away from this and be done. 91% isopropyl alcohol, pop some bubbles, add some lacing and selling to the product. It can expose some of the dyes or the paste below where it wouldn't normally be showing. I'm often misting some 91% isopropyl, and that's always what's in my clear bottles, or if you ever see me misting on the product. We also can mix in our mica powders from Polycolor into the 91% to color it, which will add a little bit of metallic misting over the product, which looks great for some metallic marbles. Man, it would probably look good on this too. We got to go to that. I open up my spray nozzle to, it's about here, and you can see I'm only pulling, this is a full pull, right? I'm just giving it small little bursts. I'm looking for little droplets and bigger droplets. That's going to give you a natural look over the product. So give it a couple spritz. We'll just do that side at first so we can compare right there. So you remember earlier, I said you don't have to be an artist, right? Anybody can smear some colorants around, especially fall in a ratio. Then a little mist of the 91% isopropyl takes away a lot of the human look. And Granite has a lot of the selling, the fracturing like that, where the minerals in the molten stage hit, and as they dry, or however the heck they call it, I guess it would be dry, they fuse that way. And that isopropyl can do that when you combine the dyes, the powders, and the pastes all in one project. Let me know, what do you like better? Do you like the selling, A, or B, no isopropyl? I say we keep it like that too. Let's build from here. One doesn't, one does. Let's start adding in our accents. So we have our 3 accents left. We've got our pearl white luster, which we saw what that did. That looked very beautiful. So I say we start with a nice pearl white luster vein, and then we'll bring in a couple accent colors into that and see what happens. So recently in Oregon, I just had a customer want white marble in the kitchen, white marble in the bathroom, but they had a unique blue color and really wants it. Could you bring any of this blue color into my vanity? And I absolutely could. So that was really cool feature. And they said not too much. So I just started doing pretty much what I'm doing now. And I'm dipping a paint stick in and building my first vein, which I'm always doing probably more than one. And that just depends on the customer or the project or the finish itself. You're just kind of bringing in an accent color right through the project. And we can come in and start melding that. I'll come in with a smaller stick, and I'm just going to run through it. And that's going to bring in a little bit of the colors below it, as well as add some more cohesive movement, like if you have too much white in one area. So let's say, how do I make my vein smaller? It's getting too wide. I'll come into this other colorant, just push into there, kind of narrow it down that way. I'm going to bring in a little bit of our molten gold right over the white. And these pastes can do such a pretty good job, a very good job at floating on top and kind of really standing out amongst a chilled out base. Compared to a mica powder, where it's an actual metal powder, that's more prone to wanting to settle, especially when you bring in heat to the project, or you do it early on when the epoxy is quite fluid. You'll see the metallics, the polycolor metallics want to settle a little bit. So I've been prone to bring those in late. I'll let the product thicken a little bit and then bring those in a little bit later. And I don't want this everywhere. This is almost going to be like my little quartz section in that vein. Yeah, guys, so after this video, go Google quartz granite slabs and you'll see what I'm talking about, where they'll have nice pockets of quartz that just take over. We did a good job of that on our Van Gogh granite and looks so beautiful in the slabs. Oh no, not a big deal. Look what I just did. I drizzled right on over it. Not the end of the world. I got some more over here. So what I'll do, make sure I don't have any white on my hand, but I could either bring in some more base colors right on top or just meld a little bit as a happy accident, which I think will be actually legendary in this piece. So let's do it. We're going happy accident mode. So I'm grabbing my white and drizzling a little bit.
Oh no.
That's a big accident. Just melded a hair more, and little peekaboos of that white will not hurt. Let's even do the white mica just a little bit. All adds to pieces realism, just little bits of peekaboos of things like that. So let's make this, let's get a little cool with this now. Just gonna continue to meld this a hair. I can come in with some heat on top, which will kind of get this more fluid as well. That vein's looking cool. And you can come in too and use the white to calm it down if it gets a little loud on you. That is cool. I'm gonna lay some of the white on top of that again, and then we might miss that side and check that out. I'm liking this wispiness over here. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. This white compared to ours, it doesn't want to meld as much. You see how this edge it's melding a little bit, but it's staying, oops, I'm drizzling, but it's staying very contrasted. Like that little black line probably would have disappeared by now. So when I really want to make something bold and pop and stay loud and stay on top, I definitely go to the paste. That's what they do. And then, like I've been saying all video, the combo of them together is just magic. Let's add a little quartz into this white section here. So see how much accents I still have left? This piece will lay out, it'll be fine. There's plenty of material on there. I could use them or I don't have to. What do you think? I do like some of the gold. Come check out the vein. Remember how I said how vivid they'll stay with the paste? Look at this end. It's the same as on the top. And that's what you want with epoxy, because the hard part about epoxy vertically, it's fluid, it wants to run. And the metallics alone can give you a more boring edge. That's why we're often fogging some paint, some spray paints on there, just in case, you know, our edges are a little boring. With pastes, no need. So let's get rid of the air out of the vein we just did. And we're gonna mist this vein just on the one side again. I like this. This is a fun trick. That is amazing. Look at what this is doing there. That's beautiful selling. It's beautiful in the mica here. The molten gold accent peekabooing that's not mixed. I think I want more molten gold after I saw that, which is exactly what I'm doing. And I'm just gonna drizzle it right on top. We're gonna have like a secondary vein inside of this. I'm so excited to do veins again. Look at that. This is so pretty. I don't want it on this piece, but if you came in here with a magic trowel and, you know, swiped that and misted it, that white is something else. I can't wait. My mind is racing. You can really let it fall off the stick and it stays right where you want it. I like that about it. Maybe another vein. I don't like just one, to tell you the truth. I'm not renovation hunter mode. You could steer your vein if you watch that. I'll come in and then I'll go vertical, walk it back, and it's gonna change the amount of material that's falling off your stick. And I think I want some more like white drizzles. So on this other vein, I slowed down. I took my time, I taught away. Now I'm just gonna go like you guys aren't here. So cool, we're done, right? So here's a pro tip, guys. It's later in the epoxy, it's thickening. We've been yapping all day doing this video. If I wanted to sell this more with the alcohol and it's later in the process, this epoxy's curing up on me. I still can do it, but I could bring a heat source to this, warm it up, and then the ISO does its thing a lot more, especially just to the vein area. Let me show you. So I warmed up pretty much just that vein. Now we're gonna hit it with the alcohol. 91%, and look at it dance. Oof. And that's why I love the ISO. I mean, the alcohol makes those colors fight. It takes away the human-made look to me, because you couldn't sit there and make that happen with your stick or with your hands. And at this stage too, like I just heated up, I could probably mist the alcohol here and it won't do much. But if I wanted to like torch in specific areas and mist, it would. This piece is pretty cool. All right, if this is my customer requested a piece like this, I'm done. I'll take some photos. I could even go take this right to them, let them check it out right in person. Bonus content! Bonus content! All right, this is getting thick. Let's see what we can do. So the quicker you get epoxy out of the bucket, the longer you have to work with it. You could work with this well over 50 minutes. You're talking 50 to 70 minutes here in the project. We'll be able to still get rid of these air bubbles. It'll still self-level and become cohesive. But this is warm, and what that tells me is it sat in here too long. It's speeding up the curing process. Epoxy cures on an exothermic reaction, meaning heat is generated. So when it's in an 1/8 inch, it's gonna cure as it's supposed to. You're gonna have 50 to 70 minutes to work with it. It's gonna cure in 18 to 24 hours, ready for the next step. If I didn't empty some of this out, this could have been set up in the next 10 minutes, rock hard. If you see epoxy start to smoke, that's when the product is no longer VOC free. You've left it in the cup too long, it's no longer usable. Get it outside, out of your workspace. You don't want to breathe those fumes. But when using it per our instructions, you mix, you color it, you get it out, you get to work with it. No mask needed, VOC free, meaning no nasty smell, no volatile organic off-gassing. All right, we got white mica. Let's get that in this party. All right, guys, question of the day. Do you like the full tutorial? Do you like when we go wild and crazy? The bonus content, when we're making crazy stuff with my kids? Let us know in the comments below, and we're gonna tailor our content right for you. Now let's get to melding. We're pushing the limits here. We're gonna make some mud and see if I could pull it out. I'm just gonna use my magic trowel, meld this in with some of the old stuff. So we purposely, did some things I never would have thought of doing on a piece. This is you guys. You're at home. You're making a sample board. You made mud. It can happen. It's okay. You're only making a small amount. It's not much wasted epoxy. So I made myself mud and I resurrected it. How did I do that? It was not that hard. Well, one thing that was going on is this was a little late in my epoxy pour. So we pushed the limits on how late we could work with it. And that's where the torch came in. If you go to isopropyl alcohol on your project and nothing happens, none of the colors move, you can let that alcohol get off of there and then bring a torch in, warm that project up like you saw me do time and time again, and then I misted it. As you warm the resin, it re-liquefies it. The water content in that alcohol hits the surface, makes the cells, and my muddy mess came back to life by taking my time, not panicking, and I kept going, and we accidentally matched another piece of granite, so voila, this is a 2-for-1. I don't know how the heck we're gonna do this, Luke, but this is sick. Magma gold granite. So I tried to mess it up with the paste. Turns out you can't do it. I tried, I failed. Look at the edge over here, it's fire. As long as you use colors that work well together, they do the hard work for you guys, and this would be a very expensive slab of granite, I'll tell you what right now. That was fun. I ruined another shirt though. Another shirt down. If this project's going in a customer's home or your own home, best practices on curing. At this point, I'm gonna kill all my lights. I'm gonna pass my torch over this one final time, maybe two, and I'm looking for little imperfections, and that might be a little bit of micro bubbles that we missed torching. So, but if I'm bringing a clear coat, it's not the end of the world to have a couple micro bubbles. You're gonna take care of that on the next step. I'm gonna turn off the AC in this room, and I'm gonna make sure my edges are fully covered. And by doing that, I'm just looking at my edges, looking for any dry spots. And we're looking quite good. I also have drips on the bottom. So if this is an installed counter, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take those drips and I'm gonna rub them underneath that edge. And what I'm doing is I'm encapsulating this whole countertop in 100% solid waterproof epoxy. So now if my customer is a messy in the kitchen, they have kids doing dishes and water's just flooding over, there's epoxy underneath here. And there's not gonna be any drips. So between hour 3 and 4, I'll come back with a stick and scrape any loose drip that's left. I've already fully saturated and coated the bottom with resin, and now we've made a very long-lasting countertop finish that's waterproof, kid-proof, and if you're going over, let's say, old laminate, and here's your kitchen sink, this area is gonna be, most cases, water damaged. So I would even grab epoxy right off the floor, just like this. Let's say I'm pouring on site and it's on my plastic down on the floor. And I'll come under there right where the sink is and completely saturate that. That will strengthen the particle board that's below that laminate and make it last another, 10, 15 years. So I like to kill the air conditioning, any vents blowing down, because what that can do is can cause waviness, or every time the AC kicks on, it blows dust, lint, little nubs and nibs get over that countertop. Again, if we're doing a top coat or a clear coat, it's not that big a deal. We'll be able to sand those out. I like to keep the temperature about anywhere from 68 to 75 degrees. The hotter the room is, the faster this is gonna cure. It's not gonna hurt anything. You might lose a little working time. If it is colder, you do not want the product to cure below 65 degrees. That can slow the cure and give you an overall softer cure in the long run. So in the winter months, you could go ahead and put a space heater down below, warming up the area, totally acceptable. That's completely sufficient to cure these. And you wanna do that for the first couple of days of curing. We'll kill the lights, kill the AC, and then we'll be back tomorrow between 18 and 24 hours for the next step. That'll be our epoxy clear coat. Guys, I got a video right about here. That's gonna give you the steps for the perfect flood coat. So the next day we'll follow those steps and do a crystal clear flood coat. That'll cure. Then we're gonna follow that with the ultimate top coat. I'm always putting either a matte or glossy version of our ultimate top coat whenever I'm installing in a customer's home. That brings durability to maximum. The epoxy is curing for the first 30 days. So it's gonna be definitely light use the first 3. and keep heavy items off those countertops for the first 7. You used to not be able to use these countertops without the ultimate top coat for 7 days. That's crazy. I would tell them to keep heavy items off for 30. With the ultimate top coat, you could get to using those counters a lot sooner, and durability is at maximum. Consider it the leathered granite look. Whenever I installed granite and it was leathered, they paid a lot more money for that feature, and it looks 1,000 times better. It's not that super glossy overtake you in your house, and it is so durable, heat resistant, food safe, and you're not going to regret applying that ultimate top coat to your projects. Neither will your customers. And think of it this way, guys. Later on down the road, I offer this to every customer. I can come back in, dress up that top coat, reapply it in a weekend. I could reapply it in a couple hours and they can use it the very next day, and those countertops are going to look brand new, just like the day you poured them. So down the road, your style changes, you paint your cabinets, grab a little bit more epoxy, light scuff sand, and you're ready for brand new countertops. And if a couple more $100 of epoxy is still going to be way less than that very first $12,000 granite kitchen that you almost blew your life savings on, instead, go with Stone Coat Epoxy. You get the look, you have tons of fun, and it's going to last you a very long time in your home, even with kids. Man, this piece, bro, is getting better and better. I thought we were going to make mud, but you're right, it's the pastes are just... Guys, this video was brought to you by Color Passion Paste. It does the hard work for you. I am not kidding, this looks beautiful. We created a couple different projects using all the same colors with the same batch of epoxy. You can find the new Color Passion Paste at stonecoatcountertops.com. We'll leave a link in the description below. Go check out those fascinating colors and be sure to subscribe to see all the new content created using those new additives. I hope you're as excited as I am about using these brand new color additives from Color Passion. Guys, I hope you had a fun time learning about these pastes and seeing just how easy it really is using Stone Coat Epoxy. From all of us here at Stone Coat, don't forget you got this, and we'll see you on the next video.